Is SSX Tricky a good game? If you watched my previous video on SSX, you know that I love snowboarding, and that I love playing snowboarding video games when I'm not actually snowboarding. I never played any of the SSX games until 2025, and I started with the first one. I was very terrible at first, but got better with time. Overall, I had a pretty fun experience with SSX and really enjoyed the Y2K art style, but felt there was some room for improvement with the controls and some of the level design. So naturally, I went on to play the sequel, SSX Tricky, to see if this game improved upon the original. SSX Tricky is the second game in the SSX franchise, published by EA and developed by their Canadian team. It was released in 2001 for the GameCube, PS2, and Xbox, with a port by Visual Impact for the Game Boy Advance, and it visually impacted me. So much so that I had to turn it off. The gameplay was so slow and boring, but I mean it's for the Game Boy Advance, they tried their best. I stuck to the PS2 version for this video, but at least I had options for SSX Tricky. The first game was only on the PS2. Returning from the first game as well is the creator, Steven Rechtschaffner, who wanted to make an improved version of the first SSX game after its huge success, but ended up making it a sequel. But did they really need to do that and make it a sequel? Let's check it out. The game opens up with a cutscene playing a remix version of It's Tricky by Run DMC, and it shows off some of the new characters and maps. And what the fuck? Are those flip tricks on a snowboard? Where both feet are supposed to be binded in?
Going that fast switch one-footed is one of the scariest things you can do. Full extension, showing you the sole of his boot.
I understand that the first SSX game was not worried about being a realistic snowboarding game. It's more about being a fun arcade-style game. And with the addition of flip tricks and SSX Tricky, it makes this game so much fun. I always wanted to do a kickflip while climbing a hill on a snowboard, so I can live out my dreams here. The flip tricks are achieved in this game by filling the Tricky meter, which is done by doing all the other regular tricks from the first game, like grabs and spins. And once this meter's full, you can perform 4 different types of tricks that appear as Uber tricks at the bottom of the screen. Not all of these tricks are flip tricks, but every time you fill the meter, it plays It's Tricky, and it's kinda sick. Now this is one of the new features of the game, and it took me a little bit to learn it because I didn't see the tutorial at first, but I feel like the tutorial improved upon this game, allowing you to practice specific tricks and to freeride courses. Maybe it's because I played the first one, the controls are almost the exact same, but I feel like everything was a lot easier starting out this time. I felt like the rotations were a lot more smooth. The rest of the game modes are the same from the first game, the race mode and the show off mode. In my SSX video that I did before, I totally fucked up and was reading show off as snow off the entire time. And snow off, where you gotta do tricks but the racing is the exact same, which means you have to do the race 3 times in a row and place in the top 3 spots. I still feel like this is way too long. I'm hoping the races get a little shorter in the other games. The show off is the exact same too, you just whip out tricks and collect multipliers for the best score. The game does have some new maps and old maps with some redesigns to them, but the game really does feel so close to the first one. I'm not sure they should have titled this game as like a full-fledged sequel, because this really just feels like a DLC / add-on for the first game. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, because it really does improve upon the original game, but it's literally just an updated version of the original game and not a brand new game built from the ground up. But I still think it's definitely better than the first. The controls feel a little more polished and the tricks are a lot more cool. The game makes it easier for you to learn all those tricks and just hop right into the game. The maps still had some janky spots I was getting stuck in sometimes, but the addition of new maps and the redesigns of the old ones from the first game are still lots of fun. The new characters are my favorite thing about this game because I love the art style, and they killed it again with the character design. I really have a soft spot for the Y2K art style, and all the characters look so cool. I would almost say if you want to go back and play the SSX games, I would just say skip the first one and start with Tricky, because I love this one. And it improves upon the first so much, but it really just feels like a patch or an update for the first game, almost making the first game kind of obsolete, which makes this feel less of a sequel, but nonetheless still a fantastic game. I definitely will be checking out SSX 3 next. Plan on doing some kind of big tier list video after I'm all done individually reviewing the games. Time for me to go. I gotta go flip a snowboard.